in and coming tonight. This is Harmony Springs Leadership Meeting on the 27th of May, 2020. We've got John and Mike from Weaver Construction here. The main task tonight was just to hear from them, hopefully, and for you all to meet Mike, who is our assigned project manager from Weaver. So I guess, John, if you want to, I just sort of thought I would give you a chance to be able to give everybody an update on where we stand on the project and to introduce Mike to everybody.
Yeah, first thing probably is introduce Mike. I'm assuming you can all see him. He's on his computer.
Yeah.
All right. And don't mind his haircut. He needs to have that fixed since he's been in the been hiding out without a haircut. So I think it looks like he weed whacked himself there. I'm not sure which. But by the time he gets started on your job, I'm sure he'll look real pretty for you guys. Right now, I can say that I did receive updated drawings from Todd yesterday with all the changes that we had discussed, including a change on the canopy area there that we had talked about on eliminating some of that structural steel that was in there. He and myself and the structural engineer got together and agreed on a less expensive way of doing that. So we'll actually save a little bit more money on that. He is going to resubmit to the building department tomorrow. And he is checking with Tom DePietro. Well, he sent an email to him yesterday to confirm that everything that they required at the City of Green, they've received from both him and from Dennis over at the civil engineer's office there. We have submitted to Summit County Soil and Water. They are currently reviewing the drawings, and we'll be in contact with them next week to see how far out they are on getting us their comments, if there are. We have up to 30 days to respond, so we're kind of in a wait and see area for that one. We do have phased approval for the construction drawings right now, but I'm assuming by the time we get the approval from Soil and Water and the City of Green with the zoning permit to be able to start, we should have full approval from the building department, so we can not have to worry about stopping and starting there. Right now, we're looking at trying to get you a schedule out, construction schedule out by the end of this week. Mike's working on that. He and I are both in Cincinnati today, so we won't be back probably till tomorrow, but sometime Friday we'll try to get you a schedule out so that you can pass that on to everybody involved, and we'll know where we're at start wise. Normally we have a groundbreaking before we start. Right now all of those are up in the air. I've got 3 of them that we really should be doing, but each municipality is a little different on what they're allowing and not allowing. So that is something that you guys might want to, consider. And I think we're going to have to wait till after June 1st to see where the governor is with, allowing more than, 10 people to congregate. So I don't know if Joel, if you guys have had that discussion or not.
We had some discussion at our staff meeting this morning, and we have some contacts with the mayor in the City of Green, and we thought we might just reach out to them to see if he wanted to record a video or something, on behalf of the church, or just say that we were getting started and do what we can without actually being out there physically. So we may be able to do like that until we are able to be.
Okay. And that's fine. And like I said, we can at any point, have a piece of equipment out there, even after we get started, and have an actual groundbreaking if you want. That's not a problem. That's just the way things are right now. It's kind of hard to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's kind of about where I'm at. I'd given you kind of an updated on that email that I sent you there, and pretty much went over everything on that. So I don't know if you guys have any questions or concerns.
Hold on one sec. There we go. We just had one more join. Hey, John.
Okay.
Hey, Buddy.
We were just hearing from John from Weaver on where we said. Does anybody have any questions for John at this point? Don't all talk at once.
I like that. I like that. No comments.
That's how these meetings go, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, and we're always available if you got any questions in between. And as we get the information, I'll make sure that you guys get it so that you can keep everybody informed on what's going on there. But right now, it's looking probably towards the end of June to actually start the job.
Okay.
I have one question. Once you get the slab down, does everything usually go pretty fast? I mean, once you get the structure after that up, is that how a lot of times that works? I know there's a lot of times, I know it's a house, but housing, you see, once they get the foundation in, they get the framework, they go pretty fast.
Yeah, it goes pretty fast. Like I said at the start there, we'll have a construction schedule out hopefully by the end of the day Friday, so you guys will be able to see you know, what our projected start date is and what our projected finish date is, and then we'll work it from there. Does anybody else have a question? Well, I guess Mike and I will get off and get on with the rest of our day here.
All right. Sounds good. Nice to meet you, Mike. Look forward to working with you. Oh, if you're talking, Mike, you got to unmute yourself. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. Thanks.
Sorry, I said good to meet you all. I'll figure out these meetings eventually. My contact will all be on the schedule I send over to you, so you will have my info at that point.
Sounds good. Thanks for logging in tonight and figuring out this technology side.
Sure thing. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
All right. All right. How is everybody feeling about the building project at this point? You can thumbs up. All right. You can unmute yourselves and talk for a few minutes here. Let me, I was feeding Miss Lily here for a second. I got to swaddle her and lay her down.
So is the construction project, is this going to require more than 10 people and be a concern about the governor's rulings?
Oh,
I was just willing to sort of let that go because I think we still have, you know, more things we got to get squared away first, but I'm having a hard time conceiving of it as being a construction site that would require enough people that would be a risk of being in violation of the governor's orders.
yeah, you're talking about as the construction is ongoing.
Yeah, I mean, feels like it's about a 10-person job no matter what. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that if it got close to that, that it wouldn't be that difficult to just make sure that your different subcontractors weren't, working on top of each other at any given time. So it might, it might have elongated the timeline a little bit, which is some of, maybe we got the April, the end date. Debbie, I think maybe you might be coming through as chirping again if you're trying to talk.
I thought he meant for a groundbreaking ceremony, the 10 people. I thought that's what he meant.
Yes. I think I think it is what he meant, yeah. Although...
well, to get started on time, I would gladly...
Oh, go ahead, Greg.
I'd gladly opt out if we got us started on time. We can have a smaller.
Yeah. Yeah, the couple ideas I had that we discussed for a little bit at staff meeting were, the first was, maybe we could just have a smaller group that was doing some sort of groundbreaking. I don't know how the mayor, if he wants, would be involved in person, if he wants to be or not, he can decide that, I guess. But at least from our perspective, leadership, we could have a handful of people being out there to kind of take the ceremonial picture with a shovel or something, and that would be fine. I'm sure we could get that done with less than 10 people and follow all the guidelines. I don't think that would be a problem. And I also don't have any issue with waiting. There's nothing in my mind that thinks there would be any issue to wait for a little while after they're, working on site. If they're working behind us, that would be fine by me. If we're, doing a groundbreaking, even if it's into, July, if they're not starting until the end of June or something. So the other idea that I had that it came to me in the middle of the night was just to sort of document this crazy time that we're starting to build a building, would be, since we have so much acreage out there, was to maybe have people who want to in the congregation to show up out on the property and, follow the guidelines, wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart, and then have somebody with a drone fly over us and take some video of all of us standing out there somehow, and if the building is being, dirt being moved around or equipment is on the property at the same time, I actually think that would be kind of neat to be able to have in a video there. So maybe we could coordinate that as well. So if anybody has any creative ideas that keep us all safe and people safe and follow the guidelines, but also keep people involved in the project and excited about the project, I'm all for anything we can come up with in that respect. Dan also is going to put up that time-lapse camera. He sent me today a preview that he did from his backyard of a time-lapse shots of their backyard, and I think that's going to be really neat too to be able to have. So we'll have an extended video that'll show the whole construction, but anything else we can come up with throughout the process. I also thought that maybe we can figure out the tech side of it with some camera with some decent video and audio that's not cutting in and out and that kind of thing, so that I can go up to the property, or one person can go up there and maybe from time to time kind of walk around and be able to show people what progress is being made and what it looks like, so that we're keeping people connected with what's going on. So I don't know, those are the rough ideas in my mind at this point to try to do all this during the coronavirus. And I was saying at staff meeting that I wish we weren't having to do this during coronavirus, but one positive is that it's forcing us to do all this with photography and video. So we are at least also keeping a record of this at the same time, creating a record of this at the same time. So we're getting video and a lot of pictures throughout all of this that we're having to share with people. It's forcing us to do that, I guess. So we're creating that record.
Could you do a TikTok
Oh,
where you have
yay!
shovel?
Oh, look at the smile.
Hold on. Sorry about that, Cheryl. We got babies on the screen, Cheryl.
You have what?
Everybody meet my granddaughter.
Oh,
Oh,
Hi.
Oh, she's adorable.
Yeah. She's in the middle of eating, so she might not last a minute. Hi, baby.
Oh.
That was pleasant. She just spit up at everybody. Oh, goodness. You're so funny. No. I do.
Cheryl, while you bring that up, Cheryl, what were you saying about TikTok?
have you seen what the kids do? Like they haven't been together, but they would film themselves. Like my friend's daughter's on the swim team, and they all got in their swimsuits and they took a picture of themselves and like put on goggles and then toss the goggles to the next one, which really isn't, that person's not really there, but you know, it's like they pass the, you know what I'm saying? Have you seen those?
Oh, no, I haven't seen that, but you know, the TikTok is with all the young people. I'll have to ask Jameson about that now.
Yeah, but you could like film. What you do is you film a bunch of people independently doing something, but you kind of make it to where you're passing. You do something in the film where it passes on to the next person, and you cut it all together to where it looks like one continuous thing. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's along the lines actually of one other idea that I had. Thank you. It reminded me about that. We talked about Emily's cousin had a birthday not too long ago, and because they couldn't gather in person, there was a website that they all sent short little videos saying happy birthday to her into, and you like upload the videos to this website, and the website puts them all together into a montage. And I was thinking that maybe we could use a website like that to have different people send in, you know, some congratulatory, you know, little videos for the church, even, you know, like Craig from Church Extension, or if we get one from the mayor or something like that, and we could put a video together like that to kind of do a bit of a virtual groundbreaking of sorts, as well as, you know, we could do an actual 10-person and under wearing masks groundbreaking out on the property too.
Yeah. I might be able to send you that TikTok that her daughter did, just so you have an example.
Yes, send that to me. That would be really neat. We should think about what we could use.
At least I think you could use some kind of shovel. Like all you would need is somebody to like hand you it, and then you just would kind of hand it off, you know. But everybody would have to have their own shovel, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe we could, if we start ahead of, you know, that's what I was thinking about. Jennifer on our behalf was going to start contacting the city's person there to the mayor, because, you know, whenever we get it put together, we get it put together. So we could start having people do it now, and then whenever we want to schedule the groundbreaking, when we have all the stuff put together. So yeah, we could take our time and try to, you know, get it all edited and make it look good. Yeah. Yeah, send that to me. That'd be cool to see.
At Lubrizol, out of the 600 people, 100 people were back. In each lab, you only allowed 3 people in a lab. So, you know, you could have probably a fair amount of people out that groundbreaking, just keep everybody separated. You know, and everybody wears a mask. So,
right.
You know, Lubrizol is, like I said, we have 600 and there's 100 of us back to work. And, you know, each lab is set up as only 3 people go in with a mask. So, like I said, you could go out in that open field and you could have maybe groups of 3 or something, but everybody's got masks on as long as you're 6 feet apart or whatever. Because even when you go to the cafeteria at work, you know, there's a bunch of people going to the cafeteria, but they're all 6 feet apart with a mask on. So, and we're all sort of grouped together in that cafeteria. So you can't
Right.
sit in there. You go in there, get your food and leave, but we all have masks and stay 6 feet away from each other. So that's a thought on the groundbreaking. You know, you could have, like I said, a lot of people, just make sure everybody stays away from each other.
Yeah. The other thought I had too was that it might not be the worst thing to wait until they at least get the construction entrance put together, which I think it's just going to be where the main drive is going to be, it sounds like. So that way we could at least, maybe park some cars along there and be able to get in a little bit closer and not have to park all kinds of crazy places up in the neighborhood and all that kind of thing. So as we get closer to knowing where they are on the timeline here, I was glad to hear him say tonight that he was going to, John said tonight that he was going to send us a construction timeline by the end of the week. So we should have a better breakdown of when everything's going to happen.
I have a video up on my screen of Pass the Microphone challenge. It's the same idea. So you see each one of them, somebody gets past something from, that covers the camera, and that's the transition from person to person.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that if people are outdoors and they stay 10 feet apart or so, you don't even need masks. I mean, we go walking down at the West Branch Dam and nobody's wearing a mask. Everybody's outdoors and nobody gets close to one another. So I don't think masks would be an issue unless people are close.
Yeah, it seems like from all the reading that I'm doing that that's the safest thing that people can be doing right now. And even if you're hiking and you're just passing by people, that even that isn't that risky. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Dick. Okay, so we may want to try to at least put some sort of our own rough timeline of those sorts of events together. And when we have their construction timeline, that'll probably help us be able to line those things up. So, we got probably a month or so, it sounds like, if he's shooting for getting all this wrapped up by end of June, it sounded like what he was saying tonight. Chuck, before you signed off there, I was just saying that John said by the end of the week they were going to try to get us a construction timeline. So that's the next piece of big information we should be getting from John and Mike. All right. What else was I thinking? Jennifer did go ahead and has filed a renewed permit with the city to put those coming soon signs up, and those are sitting with the city. We should hear back from them and get that all approved within the next week or so, and we'll be able to get those signs up. Do you want to say anything else about that, Jen? Okay.
Nope, they had gave us a sign permit last year since we were planning on starting in the spring, and it ran through November. It expired in November. I spoke with the city and they said that we were unable to use that expired permit. So we went ahead and reapplied. I passed that over to the city yesterday along with the sign permit fee, assuming that we were going to be granted it as we were granted it before. It is a plywood sign, 4 feet tall, 8 feet long. It'll be perpendicular to the street, so it'll have a front and a back. You'll see it going both directions, north and south, and it will be on 4x4 posts in cement on the south end of the property. And we already have the signs, so we're ready to go whenever they give us the permission.
Yeah, and I sent John an email. Chuck, I had a question sort of lingering in my mind, and I just wanted clarification. I guess it was Ron, the president at Weaver, but I just wanted to make sure that we had signed all the agreements that were in line to be signed with Weaver. And that addendum that you signed was the actual construction agreement with Weaver. So that was the agreement that locked us into the maximum bid price, the budget, the timeline, and contracted them to construct the building for us. So there's no other agreements or anything else with Weaver that will be needed to be signed down the road. The only other things as construction gets started then would be, like if big changes come about or change orders or something like that. So So that addendum that you signed on our behalf was the sort of final construction agreement.
Yeah, that's the way I understood it. Yep.
Okay. You have any other comments or questions, Chuck? You missed the first part. I was trying to think. John just introduced us to Mike Eberly. They were both down in Cincinnati, but he's going to be our project manager. I think John will still be involved in the project, I think, but my understanding is that Mike will take on the day-to-day operations of the project as we get started with the construction.
Yeah, Mike is the guy I met with in the office, and I signed the contract with him. So he seemed like a real sincere, nice person. So feel good about him running the project.
Okay.
Plus, he's a Browns fan, so that's good.
There you go. I was trying to think if there was anything else from any other conversations that have been had. They told us that they got the final drawings from Todd and that Todd had resubmitted those updates to the city's building department, or was going to tomorrow or something, it sounded like. So those are going to be in the right hands, and that you all can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I heard from John was that the application with Summit Soil and Water is sitting there, and they have like a 30-day period to give their comments and review. So can't remember the date that we actually filed that with them. So we could potentially hear more from them also, but we haven't heard anything else back from them yet. Okay. So, I mean, so far so good, I think.
I just text that example to you, Joel.
Oh, thank you. Got it. Oh, and sorry, John, I didn't even see your text until I just looked at my phone here. All right, so we're moving forward. I can't believe we're finally at the phase where we're within 30 days of actually having some action happening on that property, but there we are. We finally made it here, I guess.
I missed the when are we thinking about having groundbreaking?
Yeah. John was saying that, normally at this point they're discussing planning that, but he has a number of projects like ours that they're just kind of on hold right now with it. But we were saying that I think what John was saying was that it sounded like his rough timeline in his mind was that they may not get started out there till towards the end of June. So we could schedule it, but at this point we'd have to follow the 10-person or under guideline, and we were just discussing maybe just having a handful of our leadership people in charge doing that groundbreaking. And we had discussed at our staff meeting maybe we could ask the mayor if he wants to be involved in something like that, but even if he does or doesn't, that we discussed asking him to maybe put together a video of sorts, a congratulatory video or something that we could be able to share with the congregation or post, on his behalf, on the city's behalf for us. So, but the other thought was that we could wait until, it doesn't have to be right before they're actually getting started out there. I mean, it could be anytime in there. Do you have any thoughts on that, Chuck?
No, I'm pretty flexible. I'm comfortable with having some sort of event that people could come if they wanted to. Anybody that doesn't feel safe doing that would obviously need to stay away, but make it optional for sure. But
yeah. The other couple ideas late night brainstorm ideas that I had was at some point having people in the congregation who wanted to coming out and just standing in the field spaced apart and like having a drone do some video or something and flying over everybody, you know, waving at them. But I also kind of thought it'd be cool to do that when, you know, maybe a little bit more of the construction is going on. So two things: we had like a little bit like the construction access road was there for us maybe to be able to park some vehicles on, and just to be able to get video of the actual, you know, construction going on. So that may not be something we want to do until maybe a little bit later, till a little bit more seems like it's happening with the actual construction of the building. But I don't know, I was saying at the beginning that any creative ideas people have to try to, you know, be safe about it and space out and that kind of thing on the property, but still give people a chance to be involved in the project, anything we can do like that would be great. So yeah, if we have people that want to come out and, you know, stand there and stand, you know, we have, like we said, at least the one benefit is we have a big space and we're doing it outside. So all of that, from what I'm reading, seems pretty safe. So, you know, we may have people who want to come out and just do that, which would be fine.
Good.
All right. Any other, you have any other thoughts or anything you want to share at this point, Chuck?
Well, I know we talked at our last meeting a little bit about possibilities of having some summer church services outside or something like that. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit more, about what direction we might go.
Yeah, after we were discussing that after the meeting, I was just thinking that the one thing that would potentially hold us back on that is just whenever the city gets the clearance to be able to open up the parks to take reservations for groups.
Yeah.
It seems like we'd want to wait for that hurdle to open up, and after that happens, then I wouldn't see any problem with us doing that. It would seem that I would think pretty soon, if things progress the way they are, that might potentially happen, but I don't have any hard guess onto when that would potentially happen. But I'd hate to just, at this point, without that happening, to just pick a date and show up there without having made a, you know, reservation through the city to use it.
Yeah, sure. Well, maybe if we can't schedule it, we can at least maybe talk about what we might do as far as a program or location. I know we met at that one park there. I forget the name there, but we've met at that park several times. It seems like that gazebo might be a reasonable place to have something.
Yeah, East Liberty, and that's also where we are signed up. Jennifer helped sign us up for the Adopt a Spot program through the city, where we're planting things again. We moved from the soccer field to East Liberty Park, and we were discussing at staff meeting having Jennifer picking up. We got the clearance to go ahead and pick up those flowers here coming up soon, and scheduling a time to do that. What was the date we decided on that? It was Friday coming up here, right, Jen?
Next Friday, the 5th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
So anybody who wants to come help out, go to Route 619 to Turkey Foot Lake. And at the top of the hill, before you even go in the driveway, we are scheduled to put the flowers around the sign on the street.
So that would make sense to, if we want to have a summer church service there, when we have the ability to be able to do that, then if people are tending to those flowers, we'd be right there, I guess.
We live in a cul-de-sac. We could have cul-de-sac church.
Yeah. Yep.
I personally think that would be great. Anybody who wants to host, we'll start house church and we'll just move to different places, you know, once a month, an additional get together on top of Sunday gatherings, and give us a chance to see each other's home and where people live and visit with each other as well. I like that idea.
Yeah, I have seen some churches that are trying to do like sort of a once a month over the summer here in-person gathering of some sort. So keeps people at least somewhat connected in an in-person way. Well, we could see if we could see what options we have for June and maybe try to schedule something to happen in June here for everybody. All right. Any other thoughts on that front? Anything else anybody wants to talk about? Uh-oh, we lost Greg. Cheryl, go check on him.
He's fine.
All right, well, the main thing I wanted to do was I think we've cleared some big hurdles on the building project, so I think we can all take a deep sigh of relief and breath on that. So thanks for sticking with us through all of that and everything everybody has done to get us where we are on that front. So appreciate that. Why don't I close us with prayer to give thanks for all of that and how God is seeing us through all of this, and hope you all have a good rest of your evening. Will you join me in prayer? Loving and gracious God, we give you thanks this evening for your Spirit who comes and dwells with us however we meet, virtually or in person. I give you thanks for each of the people who has taken on the responsibility of leading this church, not knowing that we were going to have to do so during a worldwide pandemic. For their ability to step up and lead during this time, I give thanks. For your Spirit who guides and directs us and has seen us through this thus far, we give you thanks and we put our remaining trust in you to see us through this building project and to see Harmony Springs through into the future. Loving God, we trust you. We give thanks for you. We give thanks for all the good things you give us. In your name, we give thanks. Amen and amen.
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 Amen. What a good baby that is, Carol. Cute.
Thank you. She's adorable.
Yes, she is.
Hi, people. Say hello. You gonna wave?
Yeah, but it's so cute.